Hey, everybody, welcome back to another amazing episode of Fix Your BS, fix your belief systems around 5 major pillars: relationships, business or career, health, faith or belief, and finances or money. Those 5 pillars are everything in your life because pretty much everything revolves around those 5 things. Most people play a high level in 1 or 2 of those, but I like to find people that are playing in high levels in all of those. And today I've got somebody that does just that. His name is Steven McCombs. He is an Airbnb host with 20 plus properties. He teaches you how to replace your 9 to 5. And I guarantee there are people nodding their head going, I need to learn how to replace my 9 to 5 right now. Well, he's the guy to talk to. So Steve, we're going to talk to a little bit about who he is, what he does, how amazing of an individual he is. And I appreciate you being here, Steve. Appreciate you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So on Instagram, I saw you there, which is how I find a lot of my guests. But on Instagram, you go by Steve Arbitrage, Arbitrage. Anybody that wants to go there can click the link in the bio or description of this video. But talk to me a little bit about that. Steve Arbitrage. A lot of people don't know what arbitrage is. Tell us a little bit about what that is, how you found out about it, and what it means.
Yeah, for sure. So arbitrage you could apply it to pretty much every business. I mean, most businesses are arbitraging something, right? So the arbitrage is the difference between what you buy something and then what you sell it for. That's the arbitrage play. And so in this case, it's Airbnb arbitrage. You're playing the difference game. You're making a profit on that difference. And again, every business does this. I mean, you could call any business an arbitrage business, right? But I got into this about 2.5 years ago. I learned about this on the internet, and I thought it was an amazing idea that you could just go and rent a property and put it on Airbnb, get permission from the landlords, and profit the difference between your rent and whatever you profit from the Airbnb. And I got my first property, and just to test it out, I mean, this business compared to buying real estate, this business requires very little money up front. I mean, when you're buying a property, nowadays, you have to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars to buy a rental property. With this, you don't have to spend that much. I mean, I probably put $14,000 on a credit card because you're just buying the furniture, and I was profiting $3,000 to $4,000 a month on one property.
Wow, that is amazing. That is amazing. I know everybody's ears just perked up right now on that.
Yeah, it was a game changer. And once I figured that out, it was just like, it blew my mind how easy I could generate money from just renting properties. And that's what I started doing. I scaled from 1 to 20 properties in about 1.5 years. And those 20 properties were generating between $25,000 to $35,000 in net profits every single month.
Wow. That's awesome, dude. So let's say somebody doesn't have a lot of money. Like you said, you're like, I didn't have to spend a lot of money. Let's say they don't have a lot of money. How can they get their first units if they don't have any cash?
So that's something I love to teach. I was in the credit card world before I got into this world, so it worked perfectly for me. The credit world is, if you know that world and then you mix it with the Airbnb arbitrage world, you can do whatever you want. But that's what I did, is I got a credit card. I didn't want to spend the money, so I got a credit card with a 0% interest rate, went and got all the furniture, and then basically just paid the monthly, I don't know, $500 a month to the credit card, paid off the credit card in 3 or 4 months. And then it was all profit after that. So I basically didn't put any of my money into the deal and was profiting $3,000 to $4,000 a month just with one property. And that's when I started, I was like, holy, this is insane. I need to keep getting more and more. And so I was able to scale that up because of credit. So if someone does not have the cash, I would do one or two things. One, if you have bad credit, first of all, start fixing it as soon as possible. Second, if your credit is bad and you don't have cash, then look for a partner. Most people try to do things on their own. I could have done this business on my own if I wanted to, but I had the money to do it anyway. I had the cash, I had everything I wanted to do it. But I was like, okay, if I do this on my own, it's all on me to perform. Some things that I had never done Airbnb. So I found someone that was doing Airbnb with their property and got their knowledge and brought it into my company and partnered up with them. And that's what I would do if I were you. If you don't have good credit, you don't have money, look for a good partner that has something that you don't have, either money, they have experience, they have the knowledge, or they have good credit. If they have good credit, now you have people to rely on to go ahead and get that furniture. And now it's a 50-50 split. So that way you have someone to help you out, build out this business. And that's what I would recommend to someone that doesn't have money. It doesn't require much.
That's awesome. Wow. And that's where I think a lot of people get stuck is they hit a wall, and instead of trying to figure out a way over it, around it, through it, under it, they go, well, I don't have any money. I don't have credit. I don't know how, I can't do it. It's not possible. But you're saying it is, and you teach people how to do that, right?
Yes, that's correct. Basically, that's exactly what I teach in pretty much on my Instagram. I mean, I try to drop as much value. I mean, I'm pretty sure you've seen my Instagram. I try to drop as much value.
I look through your Instagram, and it is clean. It looks great. And it even says how to escape credit debt, increase your Airbnb bookings. Entrepreneurs must have this. Entrepreneurs must know 3 tips as a business owner. I mean, you're like all over this stuff, which is amazing. And so people can go to your Instagram, which is Steve Arbitrage. Obviously, I already said that, but Steven McCombs is your actual name. But Steve Arbitrage, you can go and find information out about it without spending any money.
Yeah. And honestly, like I tell people, the course that I have there, I literally have it there because a lot of people were asking me how to do this, and I don't have the time to explain it to every single person. So I just have a course out there with all of my knowledge. So all the credit knowledge as well, how to fix your credit, how to build your credit. I have credit lines that I will never use. I have hundreds of thousands of dollars on credit cards that I'm never going to use, but it's there if I need it, if I have
You have it available. Yeah, you have it available. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, you don't have anything on it. Yeah.
And I teach all this in the course. I basically teach someone how to go from zero to having hundreds of thousands of dollars in credit lines available for any idea that they might have. And so it's not only about Airbnb arbitrage. I'm dropping all the business knowledge that I've gained in 8 years that I've been in the United States.
That's awesome, man. You're killing it, which is amazing. So what are some other things like, when you talk about Airbnb and you're talking about types of units or types of things, I mean, what should somebody really be looking for? What types of units or Airbnb things can they do in order to make more money?
So honestly, there's many ways to skin the cat, right? Like there's many ways to do everything that you want to do in Airbnb. I mean, there's people that only focus on homes, like houses and buying houses and doing rental properties. There's other people that focus on doing apartment complexes or a mix of both. I personally focus on apartments because apartments logistically is easier to manage, because when you have 5 apartments in one apartment complex, you can have one cleaner clean all those units because she's already there in that apartment complex. When you have houses, you need way more cleaners to clean multiple houses, and they have to drive to different locations. When you have an apartment complex, it's just one place to clean all of the units. It's basically you're running a hotel without owning the hotel.
Wow. That is awesome. So, you don't have to have a ton of money down. You have access, if you go to your Instagram, Steve Arbitrage, to courses that people can get for free. So there's really no limitation to it. I mean, like if somebody comes up with, I don't know how to do it, there's information there. I don't have credit, there's information there. I don't have money, there's information there. Like you have all that information in order for them to do what you're doing, which is making a great profit off this.
Yeah. And honestly, my course is basically free compared to other people doing the same thing. they're charging upwards of $6,000 teaching what I'm teaching in my course, and a lot less than what I'm teaching because they don't teach the credit portion. So they just teach about this is arbitrage, and then you go figure it out. And then, and if you don't even have money for the course, I don't even want to take that money. Go on YouTube. The things that I've learned on YouTube is pretty much most of the knowledge I know is from YouTube. And so when people say that they don't know something, literally just look it up on YouTube. The computer you see back here, I built that computer on YouTube. So it's not about the resources are there. You just have to look for it, and that's it. And you don't even have to look far. You just look it up on the search bar on YouTube and figure out what you have to do. If you need to figure out how to fix your credit, look on YouTube. If you need to figure out how to get credit lines, if you need to go on YouTube, like you don't have to pay anyone. We
call that YouTube University.
Exactly.
I think the thing that people run into the most is that there's so much information and so many potential options that they don't know which way to go. They don't know, they can't figure out the actual destination or result they're after. And so if you can't figure that out, then obviously you're not going to stick to it long enough. Yeah. So, I mean, how did you come to the conclusion of, oh, this is what I'm going to do? You said you saw somebody else doing it or whatever, but.
So, I think a lot of people, what you're saying is there's a lot of people that have analysis paralysis, and they start thinking and they start going crazy in their head, and they don't know if they want to do drop shipping or go do an online thing or do this or do YouTube. And they start going crazy in their mind because they're seeing all these business ideas. I have the same thing, but the difference between me and that person that has that analysis paralysis is that I take action. And that's the same. That's the difference between an entrepreneur that actually does something and a wantrepreneur, a person that just wants to do something and they never do it. That's the difference between an entrepreneur and wantrepreneur. Is the person that takes action is the entrepreneur. No matter what, if it's going to fail, I didn't know what would have happened. I signed a 12-month lease. I could have been screwed. Like I took a risk. And that's what the difference between the person that makes it happen is the person that takes the risk and is willing to fail to learn a lesson.
I love that. I love that because that is so true. You're willing to fail to learn the lesson, and the cost of not jumping in is way greater than the cost of the potential failure. And that's exactly me. Most people, and that's a very rare trait to have, because most people are so risk adverse. They're afraid to screw something up. And I'm like, jump in, man. Let's mix it up. Let's see what happens. And I know I have faith in myself that I'll push through and continue to push until the result happens like I need it or want it to. How can someone automate the business after let's say they get a unit or two, they're making some profit. How can they automate it?
So that's where most people fail. And honestly, I'm not saying I'm the best at this, because that's the reason why I have 20 units and not 100 at the moment. It's because the more you get in this business, the more you start building up in any business, right? Any business, you start hiring people, and then you have to train them, and then everything needs to be the same. The culture needs to remain. So the more units you get, you need to start to learn to automate and let go. There's a saying, it says, I think like something like, if you want to be a successful CEO, you need to let go of the hustler that started the company. Right. And so that's the same thing that happens in most businesses. If you're the hustler and you want to take control over everything, which I have an issue with, I always want to make sure I'm controlling and make sure I take care of everything. It's going to take brain power and time from you to be able to scale at a bigger rate. And so you need to learn how to automate. And the way to do that is basically by hiring good people, hiring a good team, vetting your people, making sure your cleaners are on time, making sure you're on, like everything is on point, because there's more things that could go wrong that could go right. There's more little things. I mean, think about that. Every single time that someone leaves, we need to leave the unit clean and perfectly ready for the next person. think about how many things could go wrong in that situation. I mean, the cleaner doesn't show up. There's hair on the floor. The sheets aren't clean. I mean, you're running a hospitality business. And that's one difference between that's why the real estate guys fail in this business, because they treat this business like a real estate play, but it's a hospitality play. It's very different.
That's interesting. So tell me the difference between those two. You know, when you say real estate play versus a hospitality play, I mean, I kind of understand, but expand on that.
Yeah, for sure. So most realtors or real estate guys or people that are looking at the long-term game at buying a property and keeping it long-term, you're not playing that game. You're not in that world because you're paying rents. So you're basically paying a rent to someone to be able to run your business. So you don't care if this, I mean, you're not looking at you don't care if this property goes up in value. You don't care about that. You're thinking about how can I get the most amount of money in the shortest amount of time, right? And so that's the difference between the real estate play and the hospitality play. That's why hotels have different prices, right? They go down sometimes in the low season, then they go up in the high season because they're trying to profit as much as possible in the high season. That's the same thing that we do in the Airbnbs. On weekends, prices go up. On weekdays, prices go down, right? So you're thinking more like a hotel than like a long-term renter in the real estate space.
Awesome. So how can people learn more about you? I mean, what is what's a good spot to learn, more about that? Is that go to your website, stevearbitrage.com, or go to, Instagram, or, where would you send them to learn more information about how to learn how to do this?
Yeah, honestly, the biggest thing that I would recommend doing is if you like my personality and you like what I do and who I am and what I stand for, go follow me on Instagram. I post there pretty much every day. I like to drop as much knowledge as possible, but obviously it's like a minute long video where I can't really teach much. So I try to make it as interesting and interactive and entertaining as possible. But if you really want to learn the deep and kind of like the more knowledge into this business and how to get out of the rat race and how to get out of the 9-to-5, go to my course on stevearbitrage.com. And there's a free course on there. Actually, it's like 20 minutes long. I teach you what Airbnb arbitrage is. You can go on there, click on there and see the free course. But if you really want to go 100% in and you're 100% and you want to get out of the rat race, my course is $997. Most courses teaching what I teach are like $7,000. So mine is $997. I give it pretty much for free. It's like 20 hours of content. It's crazy. It took me like 3 months to do. It was insane. And so I try to give as much knowledge as possible, but to your audience, I'm going to be giving a discount. And if they do this soon, there's probably going to be a better discount. So I'll give that discount as well. So if you go on my course in the course, go through the funnel, and then at the end, it's going to say promo code. If you're close to Black Friday, like we are right now on the weekend of Black Friday, you type in Black Friday, you're going to get a 50% discount on the whole course. So 50% on the whole course. If it doesn't work and it's been some days or months after this podcast launches, then you can use I think it's
FYBS.
Yes. Yep. Use that, and then they'll get a 30 or 35% discount.
Awesome, man. So if you go to the website, or you can go to either stevearbitrage.com or Steve Arbitrage on Instagram, there's a link there too. Sign up. You can get some access to some free stuff. If you want to buy the course, use the code FYBS and you get 30% off for the course, which is normally $1,000. So that's $300 off, man. That's very generous of you. I appreciate that. Everybody needs to, if you're interested in figuring out how to be an Airbnb host and you want to have multiple properties and you want to have some cash flow coming in from this is a great thing to do. And it would be fantastic for you to take part in that. So, man, I really appreciate you being on here. People don't realize how much knowledge there is in this and how much potential there is. So, Steve, appreciate you giving that advice. And telling people how to do these things so they can, grow and become, the best they can be at Airbnb. Well, there you go. Be the best you can be at Airbnb.
There you go. Yeah, no, I appreciate you having me. And honestly, like I have other businesses that feed my financial lifestyle. So this is not where I make my money. Honestly, the only reason why I do this is because I was there where they are right now, and I didn't have someone to teach me all of this. And if I would have known about this 8 years ago, I probably would be a lot more wealthier than I am right now. Just because, I mean, I would have gone all into it. And so that's what I focus on, is just providing as much value as possible to people to learn,
Well, dude, that's very notable. I really appreciate it. And I know the audience appreciates it too. If they don't want to buy anything, just go to get all the free stuff that he has on Instagram and on his website. I mean, at least do that, but you'll probably go, holy cow, I want all the information, and they can go through that for sure.
Yeah. And go on YouTube. Go on
YouTube. Like you said, go on YouTube, man. So Steve, thanks for being here, man. Thanks for being a guest on Fix Your BS. Really appreciate you. Appreciate your knowledge and for being here to explain this to people. We haven't had anybody talking about Airbnb up to this point. So this is, we're like 60 something episodes in, and you're the first person talking about Airbnb, which is awesome. Everybody, thanks for watching this. Hopefully you got some information that you'll be able to put into place. And we always talk about action. You got to take action. If you don't take action, nothing changes. So drop what you're doing right now, get off of this thing, flip over, go to YouTube or go to Instagram and go to Steve Arbitrage and follow him, as well as look at some of the content. This has been another episode of Fix Your BS, where we talk about belief systems and give you strategies, tips, tricks, and everything in between in order to improve your relationships, your business, your health, your faith, and your finances. Obviously, today we're talking a lot about how you can improve your finances, but also Steve talked a little bit about the mindset of saying, hey, look, it's out there. You just got to get over that mindset to start taking action. Fix Your BS is all about creating your life under your terms, and we appreciate you listening today. Share this out with somebody that you know so we can help them as well. Other than that, I will see you at the next episode of the Fix Your BS podcast.